This has been one of the most exciting and curious people I brought into the podcast because I have a extreme ambition to know how he got to where he is, especially because I consider myself I'm definitely not a trailblazer biohacker, but this person is. He's gone from like cold plunges to VR neural labs to really leading a movement called lifespanning. And more than that, I believe that he's a performance philosopher and a longevity architect. The word biohacker really is not enough to categorize John. So I'm very happy that you're here, and I can't wait to start like digging into what you've worked on, how you got to where you are, and and really uncover all this curiosity I have within me.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you for having me. It's blasting intro. Thank you for that. I'm here to share whatever it's important for this public, and I'm full of hope that whatever we discuss today will help them to live longer and better.
And I really feel that you are not only um, you're definitely not a talker, you're a doer. And that's what really intriguing because I see so many people that talk about biohacking or investing and or doing something, but they're really not doing. They're just talking about it. You are living proof that you've been able to engineer your brain, engineer your body, engineer your lifestyle, engineer your finances, engineer all that, all aspects of your life to live longer. But let's start with easy questions. How did you start getting into this world? When was that initial spark?
Well, it's a hard question to answer because I think that I was born like that in a way or the other. Since I was a kid, I was always like trying to optimize the way I was living, the way I was building stuff, the way that I was helping people around me. And even in sport or performances, I was always intrigued by why some people are capable of running super fast or jumping super high and some others are not, and why some people can make fast calculation with their brain and others are just stuck by not doing it. So as a kid, I was kind of not toward friendship and stuff like that, but more into learning and books and other things that would create something. So I spent my entire life learning on everything. And I realized that if you want to do something, everything starts from the brain. This complex machine with 8 billion, I think it's 8 billion neurons that we have, is so complex that whatever AI is going to come up in the next future, it's going to be a hard job to figure out how this brain works entirely. And this is where we stand today. So I was always trying to optimize my brain because I thought that if you optimize your brain, your body necessarily will follow. And if your body follows, achieving performances, breaking records, or doing stuff wouldn't be that difficult. And so 20 something years ago, no trackers, no AI, nothing, just Excel sheets and a couple of papers and kind of Fitbit or basic stuff, taking data and then compiling some sort of an algorithm and seeing that, oh, if I change that in my life, I improve this. If I meditate 20 minutes, I perform better. If I work 90 minutes, I perform better in my task than if I work 3 hours or 4 hours. And then I studied, of course, neuroscience because I was intrigued, and it brought me where I am. But to go back to biohacking, today I'm actually really staying away from the world of biohacking because with my background in biology, I can tell you that you cannot hack any biology. It's impossible. You can improve stuff. You cannot hack. It's human being. It's biology. So that's one reason. The second reason was like because I've seen my colleagues and friends from the biohacking industry being more and more cultish and trying to kind of create some cult. And I think that longevity is for everyone. It's not for an elite of group of people or whatsoever. And I want to spread knowledge. And of course, to go back to your question, yeah, I'm the living proof for a reason, because n equal 1. I have to test it before I speak about it. Like, people read publication and then they preach, oh, you should take that molecule because it does that and that. Okay, what's your background to say that? You read something and then you claim some things. Today we know that in science you have 3 publications, 5 researchers, and 10 different opinions, and that's it. You know, the truth speak by itself, and this is it. And I think that the beauty of the world we live in today is technology and science is advancing very fast. We have to keep up with that. We have to keep people informed, and we should avoid by any means to mix up people with fake information or wrong information or misleading information because of marketing or money making or whatsoever. So yeah, I don't speak much, but when I speak the truth.
I love it because you really have a scientist mind, a scientist. You take an experiment, you make a thesis, you see when it works, when it doesn't work, you try it on yourself. You say in your social media and things that I've looked at that you are the guinea pig. You try it, and then you report back what happens.
Yeah.
And right now, you put out an important point about the importance of spreading truth online, of not being cultish, and biohacking is becoming very famous, or perhaps having,
A
I,
hype.
I don't want to call it a fad, but it's
Yeah.
definitely gaining momentum.
Yeah.
What sort of responsibility is there in this word? And I love it that you just said biohacking isn't a word. It's not even a concept. You cannot hack the bio. But what do you think is, how do we approach this?
So, you know, here's the thing. We call biohacking things that are coming from ancestral tradition and behaviors. And this is ridiculous. Why would you call meditation a biohack? Why would you call cold plunge a biohack? Why would you call walking barefoot a biohack? This is ridiculous. People have been doing that way before our industrial revolution society based, and now we're trying to grab those concepts and say, oh, this is biohacking. Okay, I'm drinking water with mineral. I'm biohacking my body. BS. That's make no sense. Like, come on, I'm walking barefoot on the beach. I'm biohacking. No, I'm walking barefoot on the beach. I'm going back to the traditional way people used to live,
Yeah.
and that's it. So, you know, here's the thing. You can. I always say the same thing. Is like you can spend 90% of your time trying to extend your life by 10% or 20%. But at the end of the day, what counts is like, are you good in math to do that? If you spend 60% and you extend it for 10%, you're not good. And the baseline is built up on natural behaviors: the sun, the walk, and water, and these things.
So that's a great advice, but let's go a little bit one step further. I will admit that I've seen
Bio.
things online and of someone doing something, and then I'm also following and I'm trying things because I'm obsessed with this. How do I uh, have a higher output for my life? And it's really, how do I optimize every part of my life? So I try to not biohack, but have better habits. How do you suggest someone starts?
It's very easy, you know. You really have to start by following what is in our body, and our body is guided by one single factor that drives your sleep, your behaviors, your eating behaviors, your learning processes, your performances, the how your temperature raises into your body, how do you recover, and everything. It's the circadian rhythm. If you are able to stick to your circadian rhythm, you are going to optimize first your sleep, then your performances, then the way your brain works, then the way that you feed yourself, and everything that is inside of you on the cellular level, and even deeper than the cellular level, on the mitochondrial level, it's going to be optimized just because you follow your circadian rhythm. And it's an important factor. We we yell at kids because they sleep over and they go to bed by 11 or 12 or 1 and they wake up at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Our society is actually wrong on that point, sending them to school at 8 because their circadian rhythm is not aligned the same way that our circadian rhythm is after 30, 40, 50, 60. And he gets off after 60, 70, 80. And I'm hoping that our society will one day understand the biology and how it works and make sure that people don't go to offices for 8 hours in a row, don't go to school at 8 a.m. because they're kids, don't stay in a class for 4 hours. It makes no freaking sense. Our brain is not optimized to work 4 hours in a row. It's 90 minutes, and this is a subsequent a factor of the circadian rhythm. It's called the ultradian rhythm. So it's the internal clock of the internal clock at the cellular level. And the capability of being on a task for 90 minutes, it's on the ultradian rhythm. And you have to work with those combinations, but the master plan is done from the circadian rhythm. So how people get started? First, don't set big goals because everything that is too big will never be achieved. You have to take one step at a time. And a simple thing is like you wake up in the morning and stay away from your phone. That's probably one of the best things you can do. And at least don't drink coffee before 90 minutes, but we almost all know that because Andrew Huberman. And get outside, because if you get outside in the morning, you are setting or resetting your circadian rhythm. And people are complaining that they don't sleep at night. It's because in the morning, before 10 a.m., they don't go outside. So they don't trigger the right receptors in their eyes, which is actually the brain outside of our skull, and they don't create enough melatonin at night to fall asleep, and they don't build up on adenosine and all these things. But those are simple factors. So step number one, get your butt out of the bed. Don't look at your phone, drink water, put some salt and lemon, could be a good thing, and get outside. And do that for 10 days and call me. I guarantee your life is going to change.
And I love how simple it is, but yet how complicated our life has become.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up, you look at your phone, you're on your computer, next task, and then
Yeah.
you might not see the
The
light or
time.
fresh
Yeah.
air until 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So
Bad.
then at 10, you're not tired, you don't have melatonin, you don't know, so your circadian rhythm is completely off. What's next?
Yeah. So what's next? I think it takes a bit of discipline because nothing is free in this society. Like, everything you do, and even in business, a bit of a struggle is what pays off. Like, I've never seen a company starting and being like boom right away. It's years and years of struggle. We outsiders who see that, oh, it was a successful business. Yeah, but how many years it took him? And it's the same for the body. Oh, you look great, you're in super shape. Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's been 30 years that I'm building this body and this mind. I started by a simple thing. So what's next? I think if you master that plan already with a simple one, then the second is like think about how you can optimize your bedroom to sleep better and get to bed at the same time. So because we know today that the factor number one for longevity is sleep. If you don't sleep, and like you said, you wake up, you look at your phone, then you go on your computer, then you don't sleep very well, and you wake up and you reproduce the same cycle. I bet your deep sleep is 20 minutes, 30 minutes, max an hour. You need at least 2 hours. Otherwise, your brain is not cleaning up the debris. It's not flushing up what it needs to flush out. And you accumulate all this dirt in your brain, and you will never have a clear mind. You will never be able to set your goal clearly because you have some sort of brain fog and because you keep going on the same pattern. And everything falls apart because of all those habits. Our society has been created in the wrong way. Since the industrial economy, we have been forcing people to wake up, jump in their car, get to an office that is dark and is full of everything, dust and name it, stay there for 8 hours, even eat on the spot. You have 30 minutes to eat or an hour to eat, and then go back home. But depending where you live, and if it's not the summer, it's 5, 6 p.m. and it's already dark. And then you're home, and what you do, you cook for your family or you eat, and you sit in front of the TV, and you eat potato chips, and you gain fat, and you have a fatty liver, and you end up with type 2 diabetes, and you don't sleep well, and you reproduce that, and you reproduce that. It's really time for a change, and I'm very, very, very happy that, in fact, the biohacking movement is taking a hype. It's about time. I've been in this optimization and life optimization for over 20 years, and it's only in the last few years that I've seen a change and more people enthusiastic about it. And thanks to Brian Johnson, even if Brian is not a scientist and is a guinea pig as well, what it did, because of the media exposure, made the biohacking kind of interesting. I'm not for what he's doing, but I think he brought a lot. And Dave Asprey was trying to do that for a long time, and he never made it that way. He was rejected. Like when I was in the street and asking people, hey, do you know biohacking? Or I'm a biohacker. Oh, what do you do? You're a biohacker? You're hacking hospital system or whatsoever? Yeah.
I think definitely you said something before that really struck with me, which is the mind follows the body. And I think that that's something that maybe people are doing it backwards. People want to find like the six pack or have like, all these like body accessories. Let's talk about how your mind, or let's go deeper into that point, because I think it's incredibly important to have the right mind and then the body and perhaps then the supplements and then I don't know, the
Right. Yeah,
sequence.
yeah.
But let's talk about the mind for a bit, because I think that this is something that you're unique compared to other people in the media that are perhaps talking more aesthetic things, and you're talking something that's incredibly different and more powerful, in my opinion.
Thank you for that. So let me ask you a question. If we want to start about mine, how do you feel now?
I feel good.
Yeah. That question, everybody should ask that question every day, every hour. No one does that. No one does a self-check on a regular basis. How do I feel? Oh, I feel a bit irritated, or I feel a bit stressed, or I feel good. I feel pumped up. Okay, now that I know how I feel, what's the reason behind it? I feel stressed. Why? Oh, because of that. Is it controllable or is not? Well, it's a bit out of my control, and that's why I'm stressed. So it's out of your control, get rid of it. I feel pumped and happy. Why? Well, because I'm on this podcast and it's cool, and we're having a great discussion. So let's do it. I live in the moment. I'm happy. I'm keeping the vibe, and people just forget that. They're trying to live in their past most of the time or in the future, but they never self-check where they stand at the present moment. And if you get to that point, and that's one, if you get to that point, you kind of create an inner pace and peace, and that inner peace in your mind allows you to think better, because it's not a question of IQ, it's not a question of intelligence, it's a question of how you're using your neuron. And you have to remember that neuroplasticity, like 50 years ago, we were saying like you're born with a certain number of neurons and you're going to die with less neurons. It's completely false. Like you can be born with a certain number of neurons and die with way more neurons, because you can create neurons more and more. So it's how you create them. What do you do to create them? How do you trigger neuroplasticity? How do you optimize the memory building pattern? How do you memorize things that normally you forgot by being a bit more present? But how do you optimize also the learning process? Because at the end of the day, what makes you better, it's because you know a bit more and you're using it a bit more. So how do you caption all this information and retain it? And it's not with social media today that you can do that. It's too fast. Our brain cannot do it. So that self-check is one. And the second that I would recommend anyone to do, and it's a very hard thing to do, is how much time can you spend with yourself? And I'm talking really spending time with you, not with your music, not your computer, your phone, or whatsoever, with you and only you. Nothing around you. You can sit, you can walk, you can do whatever you want, but you're just you and yourself. How long can you do that? You know, there is a study that has been done on that. The average people in America cannot stay more than 7 minutes with themselves. It's a
Wow.
pity. Yeah, it's a pity. I spend 2 hours every day with myself. Minimum. It gives you the introspection you need to forecast where you want to go, what you want to do, how do you want to handle it, what you can optimize, what you can get rid of, how you can improve, because life is a learning process and you need to improve a bit more every day without being competitive, okay? I mean, like, for the sake of having a life on purpose, you need to improve a bit more every day. You need to be better than you were yesterday. That's for sure.
I love the first one of doing a self check, because like we do for our bodies, we might weigh ourselves, we might take before and
Yeah.
after pictures. Perhaps for the mind, we're not doing that as much. And there are people who advocate journaling or
Good.
doing different techniques, but it's really at a basic level is doing a self check. Like you mentioned, I think this is very critical. And peeling that, because if you're I'm going to use this like getting your from your advice, because I think it's important to understand when you feel stressed what to do about it, when you feel angry what to do about it, and how to optimize. And the second part, which you mentioned, being by yourself, is such a powerful concept. And it also, it kind of feels like prison, it's like
Yeah.
you could people get sent to the solitary to be like, punished.
Yeah.
But really it's a freeing mechanism. And if an average American can only stay 7 minutes, that's it almost feels like prison. But it's what you're saying, it's the opposite. It's the
It's, yeah,
freedom. It's how to get
completely
uh free.
free. Yeah, and free your mind, because our mind is always in perpetuity captivated by everything that surrounds us, like noises, TV, radio, cell phone, social media. Overflow of information is getting into our brain. Thanks God our brain is brilliant enough to cut down 90% of the noise that is coming to us. But if you remove those distractions and you keep that window open just for you, yeah, you actually create freedom. You're right.
How does your perspective change from you grew up in France, you came to the US, you lived a bit in Canada, I believe, as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
How does your international perspective make you give you that extra edge when understanding these concepts?
Well, that's the beauty of of knowing few countries, and I think that I encourage everyone to travel and live in different places during their life and not in the same village for the rest of their lives and marry your cousin or whatever.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. But I mean, like, I don't know, my parents are Italian, so I was born and raised as Italian in France. I studied in France. I wanted to get out of that country um, for a reason that I didn't know. It's just like something was calling me to explore. I lived in Canada. Then from Canada, when I sold my business in 21, my last venture there, I moved to Boston, then Miami. And I think that I'm in the right spot now. It took a few years for me to realize what I want and what I don't want. And this is the process of growing up or growing older, I guess. It's like at the beginning you search and you try to discover, and then you adapt. And you try to adapt yourself to the environment. And to a certain point, after having been in different places, I used to have a factory in Korea and one in China as well, so I was in those parts of the world as well. You realize that it's not you to adapt to the environment, but it's actually finding the right environment that is adapted to you. And this is what I found by moving down to Miami. Many factors actually were wiped off from my life that were buggers, little buggers that you have every day. You when you want to go outside in Canada, you need to find a coat. You go to France, where's my coat? I haven't said that sentence for for 3 years. Where is my coat? I have no coat. And that is one of the bugger because I like to be as close as possible to nature. So Miami brings me that, the nature here, the ocean. I'm an ocean person as well. And when you're confined in the same environment, it's like when it's exactly the same if you're confined in the same job for the rest of your life. It makes your mindset close up and it makes your vision very, very narrow. The more you meet people, the more you expand your vision. The more you visit places, the more you expand your vision. Again, in this society, we live in a world where people don't talk to each other, and it's sad because everyone has a story, and you can learn a story from everyone, and everyone has a true story that can vibrate or make you have goosebumps. But it's just like we don't take the time to listen to these people. We're just like, we judge most of the time. Oh, they're dumb. Oh, this country, they're stupid. The country is stupid. How can you say that? Like millions of people. Yeah. And that's it.
What you mentioned that you sold your company. I sold my company too in 2019. And after selling my company, I had a bit of an identity crisis. I felt like because I was what I did.
Yeah.
When it's very American society that you are what you do.
Yeah.
But once you stop doing that, you're like, okay, now
Who I am.
what do you do or what do you do? Did you experience the same thing? And then how did that change into who you are today?
Interesting, but I had 12 companies in my life. And my first company, I was really attached to it, like if it was a baby. And by any means, I would never give up of that company. Unfortunately, the business was not going that great, and that company went bankrupt. And I went bankrupt with the company, and I paid the high price of being attached to those things that are not yours. It's what you create. So being detached from there, I went from companies to companies, merger, acquisition, and everything. And when I sold my last company, I actually felt a very strange feeling because I sold my company to a public company, and I never worked for corporate America before. I worked for me. He was going to prison for me. He literally was going to prison. Like decision making, there is none. Public company are BS. They they vehiculate fake information to make people believe that they're doing great so they get more money from the stock market, but behind the scene it's not that. And I'm full of integrity, and it was not me. I was supposed to stay 5 years with that company a minimum. After a year and a half, it was enough for me. I can't deal with bullshit. I can't deal with non-decision making fast enough. I cannot deal with a board of administrator that know zero and try to pretend that they know everything. You know what it is. You created your company, you sold it, and you're part of what you're giving. You're part of that component of knowledge. And you've done it for years and years, and then other people, oh no, it's not the way that you should do it, you know? Well, you bought my company because I was doing it. So yeah, I left that company despite of all the money that was left behind it. No regrets on that, because you know what is the most important in life is purpose and freedom. And you find your freedom because you detach from all the belongings that you have, including the company. You know, I've been one of the biggest collector of art, and I'm stuck with a lot of paintings, but those are belonging that are avoiding me freedom in a way. I cannot fly away and say, I'm going to live in Singapore for 2 years. I have to bring these freaking paintings with me. And yeah, I had a collection of wine in Canada, same thing. I think that in my future life, that is coming up now, I'm just getting started, I want to be completely free. I want to be able to answer this question that actually American in general are not able to answer is, hey, what's your name? And who are you? And most people say, oh, I'm the CEO of this company. Oh, I'm the product manager. Oh, I'm a financial advisor. No, no, I'm asking you, who are you? Who's Ahmad? Who's that person? What do you like? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Oh, I'm doing this for a living. No, no, I'm asking you, what do you do in your life? And those are the real question. Comes back to what I was saying before, like self-check of who are you? How do you feel? Most people, when you say, hey, do you know yourself? They go like, ah, no, no one knows me. Shit. We create those images to make people think that we are that way. But deep inside, the most important is, do you know how you are? Do you know who you are? Do you know what you like, what you don't like? How do you feel? What's your thought? Without putting any educational, religious, or spiritual thing behind it, like, because most of our thoughts are built up by the way that we have been educated. Is it good to say that? It's not appropriate to say that. I say whatever I want to say, whenever I want to say, to whomever I want to say it, and I don't dress because I need to go to a certain party. The privilege of freedom is being able to be yourself whenever you want, with whomever you want, in any circumstances, without having, like, being afraid to be judged or whatsoever, because you don't care. You know who you are, you know your value. And like people say, if you know your worth, add taxes on it.
That's a new one for me,
So you can use it.
for sure. And you gave golden advices for people that start businesses. And sell them, and how you created 12 and now you're extremely successful. You went from being broke from
Mm-hmm.
one business because you were attached to now having all these collectibles that you think maybe I need to be free from this because it's limiting my freedom. It's such a powerful message. And I want to go deeper into biohacking, lifespanning, and the flow state, because I think that here you have a very important message that I think is very worth listening to. And because from what I understand, lifespanning is about living deeper, not necessarily just longer.
Hmm.
What does that actually mean for your daily life?
Everything I do, I'll do it on purpose, with the idea that it's a good thing. It's a good thing to do. Nothing bad, nothing negative. I remove negativity from everything I do or try to do or even talk. And I'm always trying to understand where people are coming from when they talk to you, because you know how conflicts are generated. It's because it's a misunderstanding. Most of the time, it's a misunderstanding on the point of view. But if we take time to explain it and put yourself in the shoes of others, there is no conflict anymore. And it's peace all over the place. So to get there, on my daily life, well, you know, biohacking is biohacking, lifespanning in general is really part of who I am. When people ask me, recently actually, someone asked me, "What do you do in one day? Can you tell me from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed?" And so I was listing all the things I've done during the day, but naturally, like I wake up in the morning, I put my right feet on the floor because it's luck from the Italian mentality that I kept since I was born. And then I'm going to stretch, I'm going to get my water, lemon, salt. I go outside, I do meditation, I'm going to do some infrared and blah, 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 blah. I work by 90 minutes flow states, optimization moments. And so the person in front of me was just like, that's a lot. It's not a lot from the moment you start your day to the moment you finish it. It's because the day I started to do these things one after the other, I was starting by one thing, 1% of it. And then you add on, and then it becomes an habit. You know, it takes about 100 hours to create an habit. So everything becomes an habit and part of you. Like I was telling this same person, when I go outside at night for my walk after my meal, um, I go on the other side of the street, so I make sure that the cars are behind me, so I don't get the full light in my face, so I don't get the blue light because I'm going to go to bed very soon and I don't want to activate anything with blue light. But it was a natural process. I didn't think about I need to cross the road to walk on this side of the street because of that, but it's so imprinted in my way of life that it became natural. And so these things are very simple. However, I'm a true believer of Hormesis. Hormesis is a process in biology that it's a small trigger of toxicity in your body, and you need that. So when people say, "Oh, so you don't drink wine, you don't eat this and this," no, I do. I do drink wine once in a while. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not scared about having one day a meal at the restaurant and there is seed oil into it. You know, this is the thing. Like most people freak out. On my Instagram story, I put like I was doing a ceviche from tuna, and one of the biohacker influencer goes like, "What about the toxicity with mercury? Okay, and what about the toxicity from the pan? And what about the seed oil? And what about this?" And I said, "I'm going to eat rocks." And oh, I cannot eat rocks because I can't even touch them. Yeah, rain is toxic. So you have to you have to realize that we are humans, and this is how you live. Like as human, we have things that we do that have to be fun in a way or the other.
Yeah. And I agree that you said it before. The brain is extremely complex
Yeah.
and AI needs to catch up. The same thing is with your habits. Like if you want to have that consciousness, flow state, and you speak about it as being a discipline. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily like a mood or you get into flow when you do 30 minutes of yoga. It's getting ready for your whole day to be able to perform at that high level. And I'm a very big sports person, and this makes extreme sense to me, but I don't think everybody does. Like if you want to run 100 meters at your fastest, you cannot wake up from bed and hit it.
No.
You have to wake up, you have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
eat, you have to, there's so many steps. And the same thing happens in your mind. And I think you gave us a few maybe a checklist of things that, not even a checklist, maybe a recipe of how your day is so that we can also follow it.
Yeah.
What can you do that checklist again so that we can, so that I can, I'll write it down so I can be like, oh, I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna watch the
Yeah.
sun. I'm gonna go out.
Yeah. So very simple things like that you can do when you start your day. Honestly, is you wake up because your brain shrinks overnight. It's the natural process of deep sleep. So you wake up in the morning and your brain is a bit dry. So you need to put some water and minerals because you need minerals for the neuronal connections. Like everything that is based on neurons need to be connected and have the proper mineral like potassium and sodium is very important. If you want to boost your metabolism, you need a bit of lemon. It's very easy. You put lemon in your water and salt, and then you kick off your metabolism. That's a great start. Now you're ready to do some stretching because your body is a bit numb. You've been doing, like, if you on REM sleep and deep sleep, you don't move that much. And so you stretch a bit your body. What is next? I still haven't checked my phone, okay? And let's put some time on it. Let's pretend I wake up at 6:30. I'm drinking my water, lemon, salt, I'm stretching. It is about 7, so it's half an hour. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna probably go outside for 30 minutes to 1 hour. I'm going to spend 20 minutes of meditation time minimum. If I can do 30, I'll do, but at least 20 minutes. My phone is still not touched. Okay? An hour later, I'm ready to get some caffeine. I drink coffee. Okay? So I'm ready to have a coffee. And now I can check my phone. It's been long enough. My brain is already awake. My body is awake. And everything seems to be aligned. So I can keep going and continue on that pattern. After that, personally, what I'm going to do, I'm going to work 90 minutes because I know that my body temperature went down around 3:30 at night. So I'm going to wait until my body temperature starts rising high enough to be able to work out. So I have 90 minutes, but I know that my brain is optimized because I meditated before, because I went outside, because I generated the right trigger with the blue light and the right dose of vitamin D as well. So I'm ready to work 90 minutes. Now I'm going to spend 90 minutes working on my computer. And from that 90 minutes on my computer, when I'm done, I'm going to go work out. And my workout is about a 90 minute. But my workout are on flow state. I do calisthenics, so it's body-mind connection. Everything is like mindful. I don't lift weight. I call them the muscle. Yeah. Yeah. And
Well, you just to give a little bit of advice, people go look at your Instagram because it's really impressive what you're able to do with your body. It's you do the flag, you do the
yeah,
everything, all these crazy things, but they're not crazy. They're actually very impressive, and like you said, it's not dumb weight. It's functional and it's
functional.
very
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's very
learning how.
impressive.
Yeah, thank you for that. You know, it's a process of learning how your body works and what the connection between the muscle and your brain are. And when you start doing that, calisthenics is fantastic. And actually, gymnasts have been proven to live longer than any other athlete. So I think that you combine longevity and sport at the same time, which is a great thing to do. And so after my workout, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my apartment and I'm going to do some infrared therapy a bit, not too much because I want to keep some inflammation high, not to reduce it to the minimum. I'm going to get my protein-based kind of lunch, and I do intermittent fasting every day, like 16, 18 hours from the day before. And then I'm going to work a second cycle of 90 minutes. And after that second cycle of 90 minutes, I'm going to go for a walk. If I can do it before the 90 minutes, I'll do a walk. Otherwise, I'll do it after. And when I come back from my walk, which is about 30 minutes, at the same time it's meditation. Coming back from my walk, I'm going to check email and do light task work. And when I'm done with the light task work, if I have the time, I'm going to go for a cold plunge or sauna or both, ideally, because sauna and cold plunge combine, raise your testosterone, raise your AGH, and generate a lot of shock proteins as well. And when I come back, I finish my work, a meal by early meal at night, and I'm going to go for a walk. I don't take any pills to digest. I walk a lot every day. I train for an hour and a half, and when I come back, I read publication or things on purpose, no fiction books for me, and I chill as much as I can, and I'm trying to go to bed by 10. So I'm gonna go to bed and do a bit of meditation, a bit of reading in the bed, if I can, and most of the time I would. I'm gonna take a very hot shower an hour before going to bed, and then I chill. And when I go to bed, I try to sleep. Not like a
Mhm.
baby, because baby wake up very often, but I try to sleep my 8 hours a night. Yeah, and it's not very
That's a
complicated.
that
Yeah,
I like how simple it seems, but also how efficient it has to be. Because I also feel if you have 90 minutes to work,
you achieve.
uh, you make it count.
Yeah,
And then you have 90 minutes again, you have to make it count. So it's not essentially, it's not the 8 hours. I'm sure you pack in a lot into those two sessions of 90 minutes and then your session of light work with email and others. It's a lot of output, but it's the way to get quality and then also take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of uh, everything else that needs also taking care of. If you spend 8 hours straight working, you cannot be productive.
no, no. It's against the principle of neuroscience. It doesn't work. You cannot be productive. But one detail that is very important when you work on those block of 90 minutes, you have to make sure that there is no distraction. Your phone is off. Your email, your Outlook, or whatever you're using is off. Because most people, they say, oh, I'm going to work 90 minutes. But what they do, an email comes in, oh, I'm going to answer this email. A phone rings,
Mm.
oh, I'm going to answer that phone. Oh, a notification from Instagram, oh, I got a like. That's it. You know, if you spend those
Yeah,
90 minutes, spend them appropriately.
working.
Yeah, working, deeply working.
Uh, what's the biggest longevity myth that you are tired of seeing repeated?
That's a good question. That you have to eat fat. I see people saying like, oh, cut the carbs. Otherwise, you're not going to live longer. I think I'm tired of hearing that. It makes no sense. I eat carbs every day. My biological age is better than anyone. I'm not claiming like Brian Johnson that I have the world record, but my biological age is half my age. and my pace of aging is better than anyone on that Olympic of longevity. And I eat carbs.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
And
love
I
it. Carbs are not the enemy.
no, absolutely not.
Uh, and one thing that I want to get back to what you were mentioning before about the phone, I think when I said get up and have a 100-meter sprint, when you take your phone, it's like doing the same thing. You're not ready for all that stimulation. So I really liked how you phrased it, that you need some time to get up, to hydrate your brain, to stretch your body, to get a little bit situation, then a little bit of caffeine, and then hit a little bit more stimulation, because it's not easy to be in this state of like, oh, I just woke up, and then you see 100
Oh,
emails, you see bad news, you
yeah,
see everything that stresses
yeah.
you. You're gonna, it's like trying to run 100 meters as fast as you can. You're
It
going to
is.
get hurt.
Yeah, it is. And the pity is like, you know what wakes you up? It's cortisol. That's beautiful small dose of cortisol that you're getting that wakes you up, and it's a great thing because it wakes up your body. But the extra dose of cortisol that you're getting by your phone and your messages and your email, that one is not necessary. It picks your insulin and it rises your adrenaline at the time that it's not needed. You need to wake up your brain slowly, and yeah, and many people just forget that.
For sure. I want to try something different that I've never done before in a podcast. But I think you're up for the challenge, because I think this is a different way to finish. And everything you've said has been incredible. And now I want to go more into like a rapid fire question. I'll
Whoa.
ask you something, and first thing that
Okay.
comes from your mind, okay?
Right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Morning ritual you swear by.
Oh, water, lemon, and salt.
One biohack that actually changed your life.
Meditation.
What scares you more, irrelevance or regret?
Oh, regrets.
Favorite brain fuel snack.
Olive oil.
Last time you cried, what was happening?
I cry for many things these days. You know, when I was a kid, I was crying all the time because I was hypersensitive. And then I changed, when I was a teenager, I changed completely at the opposite, never cry. And for years and years, up to the age of 40, I've never cried. Now I cry for anything. I can just like look at people that are sad and cry. So last time I cried is because I've seen someone arguing with another one, and the girl was like crying, and it made me cry. It made me sad.
Beautiful. If you weren't doing any of this, what would you be doing?
Any of these?
Of any of this that you're doing right now, if you
Oh,
weren't doing anything that you're doing right now,
oh,
what would you
which
be
one?
doing?
Cold plunge is my favorite one.
Most misunderstood concept in neuroscience.
Well, that your brain is steady matter that doesn't change and doesn't evolve. That is not understood at all. Like many people forget that.
Someone non-scientific who has influenced your thinking.
Yes, Stephen Bartlett.
Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah,
Why?
I like his approach in terms of business, and he's not a scientist, but he really put an angle that makes sense. I see the intelligence behind his thinking.
Yeah, he's special.
Yeah,
Define success in one word.
freedom.
Define vitality in one sentence.
In one sentence, being able to move, think, and do whatever you want at any ages.
Wonderful, John. This was fire. And if listeners want to start their lifespanning journey, where should they begin, and where can they follow your work?
The best way is like taking the assessment we have on our website at lifespanning.com. That's the best way to start because many people today they don't know how to start, what to do, how to do it, and some people take supplement, but they don't even know if those supplements are good for them. What we do at Lifespanning is actually we make sure that we assess where you are and we tailor what you need to do. Not all people can do calisthenics, for example. Not all people can take that type of supplement. Not all people can spend 2 hours doing some meditation they're not made for. So we help them to, and we guide them on a daily basis to get there with lifespanning. And if people want to follow and to see what I'm doing, Cyborg Gains on Instagram is probably the coolest place for that. Yeah.
It's definitely cool. I follow and I think it's great. And I love your approach of doing something that's made for you and not what everybody else is doing. Because
Yeah.
that's very healthy advice.
Because we
Thank you
are
again
all,
for coming.
yeah, we are all unique snowflake.
That's true. That's true. Hopefully one day we can do calisthenics together.
I wish.
I used to do it, but now I'm 220 pounds.
You're
So I
really
don't know if
kidding
I can,
me.
but definitely,
Really? You're 220 pounds? What happened?
I put on what you said, dumb muscle,
Ouch. Yeah, so you
you
lose
know?
flexibility a bit, huh?
I'm starting to do Pilates now,
Okay, good.
which is increasing my flexibility more than I used to do before. But when I was doing calisthenics, I got into calisthenics because of CrossFit. I was 180, 190, and it was a
And
lot
then,
easier. Now with 220, when I have to do a pull-up,
yeah,
I feel
it's,
it's a lot of weight.
yeah. But it's still feasible. I have a friend that is 235 and he does pretty much everything I do. So you can do it.
So he's probably a beast. But anyhow, would love to.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Ahmed. It was great. It was a great pleasure, honestly.
No, my pleasure. And hopefully we had 3 hours because I want to know more and more and more. But definitely we'll keep following you and keep learning from you. And doing this assessment is very interesting. So I'll do that.
Thank you. So we'll be in touch on that.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.